DW, for that back pain that you were talking about, wouldn't it make sense then that we give you something that can replace all of that organic sulfur that you aren't getting in your diet? Wouldn't it make sense that we look at something like that?
It makes total sense.
It makes total sense. And what product is that?
Well, you probably may want to start with Renavator. Then we've got the Spectra Max, so it kind of comes in a couple different spots.
Actually, I'm going to stop you because we're going to talk about those as well. But the one that I'm talking about right now with the organic sulfur, Fucoydon.
Yes.
Okay, and why is Fucoydon so good with it? Well, think about it. Everybody that's on the phone, everybody that's listening to this recording, take a thought and think about this. What haven't we done to the soil 20 to 30 feet below the surface of the ocean? We haven't depleted the minerals out of the soil in the bottom of the ocean. It constantly gets replenished. Guess what's dying in the ocean? Fish, right? Back in the old days, back when they, 200 years ago, when they were planting a field, I remember looking at those pictures of the pilgrims, right? And they'd take fish carcasses and they'd put it in the field. They'd use it as fertilizer, right?
Yeah.
And it really worked. Well, now we aren't doing that. We aren't doing that. We're going out there and we're spraying nitrogen down into the soil. We're using all this stuff to make crops, big years of corn, but no nutrition value in it. And so the Fucoydon, it comes from the bottom of the sea, and the one of the magical compounds that's found in there is organic sulfur. When you hear Aaron giving you the tour, and he's giving you the tour of where Tom makes the Fucoydon in his special machine that he invented, what's it doing? It's sulfonating. It's sulfonating. And that sulfonating process, that's what makes the Fucoydon so powerful on getting rid of inflammation and also triggering healing. I was just working with a gal just recently that fell and tripped and cut a little bit through her lip, and I said, just take some of this and with a Q-tip, dip it on there. Just dip it on there every day, twice a day. Just put a little bit of Fucoydon on there. And DW, you know how long it took for her to start seeing just miraculous changes with that?
Well, right away.
Yeah, right away. 2 days, you could see it. You could feel her lip, that hard knot that was beneath there, gone. Mm-hmm. Gone in 2 days. And that's because you've got this great compound with the organic sulfur, and there's a lot of other things that are in Fucoydon as well that trigger healing. But the organic sulfur is one of the main ones that I talk about because I've talked about that for 20 years in my office, and I've talked about using MSM and glucosamine and chondroitin and different things like that. But think about what they are: chondroitin sulfate, or a glucosamine sulfate, methyl sulfonyl which is again, it's a sulfur. It's a sugar, and it's a protein. It's a sugar molecule and a carbohydrate that bring a sulfur molecule into your body and allow it to bring that sulfur in so that you can get some healing. So that's where I was going to go with it. And I was just looking up, for those of you that like the science, where's the proof? Here I'm on an article. I just looked this up. This is on Natural Medicine Research. It's on PubMed, and it's got just a whole list of different doctors that did the study. And they took a bunch of participants with confirmed diagnosis of osteoarthritis of the knee. And what they did is they gave them Fucoydon extract. And what they found is that, even just giving them a little tiny dose of Fucoydon, they found that it decreased the symptoms 52% in a 10-week course of doing that. I mean, think about that. 52% chronic osteoarthritis pain. It takes 8 years for osteoarthritis to show up. So this is chronic. It's not something that just popped up yesterday. And they were able to decrease it by over 50% in a 10-week period of time using a mild form of seaweed extract, which is Fucoydon. And now here, what Tom Maurer and Sisel brought to us is a product that's probably 300 to 400, 500 times stronger than what these guys used in their study, and it's just an amazing product for that. But, enough on that, and I can go on and on and on for the next 3 days about that, DW. But the other one that I really want to talk about is that a lot of people don't think about for joint pain. You and I have talked about it on this call, is the omega-3s, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and omega-3s are so important because, again, guess what it has in it? It has that EPA, DHA. Those are the two oils that are found in fish oils, and EPA decreases inflammation, and it actually decreases the progression of osteoarthritis. So again, for the last 20, 25 years of working in my office, I've recommended sometimes up to 5,000 milligrams of fish oil to help people get rid of joint pain.
That's a lot. But with what we have, super concentrated, with the potency levels of Tom, someone that's really going through some of those challenges, would you still recommend that much?
Yeah, I mean, if somebody has a lot of joint pain, you're dang right. I mean, I'm going to tell them that they want to be taking high doses of fish oils and the omegas just to decrease that. And again, we've got a super concentrated formula, so I might start out with just the recommended dosage, 1,000 milligrams. See how it goes. Use it with the Fucoydon. If I don't seem to be getting the results, I might bump it up to 2,000. I might bump it up to 3,000. And again, like we were talking about last week, if your stomach's not working right, if your digestive system isn't working right, you're not going to absorb that stuff. So one of the key things that I look for, DW, have you ever taken a fish oil in the course of your lifetime where you actually burped up a fish taste?
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've had a proctor does that, but yes.
Yeah, and a lot of people think, oh, it's a bad product. Actually, no, it's not a bad product. Not necessarily. It could be, but a lot of times what happens is if you don't have enough stomach acid, then what you're going to do is you're not going to digest the fish oils, and that's when you're going to notice that. So so I always talk to people about making sure that they have enough stomach acid. A lot of people think that they have too much because they're taking all the antacids and all that, but really when somebody has to take antacids, it's usually and then again, this is another 3-day talk that I could talk on. But it's usually because they don't have enough stomach acids.
Yeah. So what you're saying then is the Omega Plus, the Super Omega Plus that we have is, and you mix that with the Fucoydon, which helps with circulation, inflammation as well. And that combination is, especially for major arthritis, double dosing that right there alone is going to make a big impact.
Oh, it's going to make a huge, huge impact. And then we start throwing in some things that are going to rebuild the joint now. So now that we got the pain issue under control, now that we got the inflammation under control, now we can say, hey, DW, let's rebuild those joints. Because if we tried to rebuild the joints prior to getting rid of the inflammation, all we're doing is it's kind of like trying to put out a fire with dust. I mean, you're just not going to be able to do it. You want to get that inflammation under control. Now you can go in there and you can really start working with that, and that's where the Renavator product is just superior to anything else that I've ever seen on the market. It's got ingredients in it, that work better than glucosamine sulfate, better than MSM, better than the chondroitin, and it not only does it help with getting rid of the joint pain and working like a natural COX-2 inhibitor, which is one of the classifications of drugs. You've probably heard of Vioxx and Celebrex and some of these that were on the market, and they should have been taken off. They're still on the market, but they should have been taken off because they caused heart disease. Well, we've got ingredients in the Renavator that work like a COX-2 inhibitor, but don't cause the heart disease that the COX-2 inhibitors like Vioxx did. And then on top of it, with the ingredients that are in there, we've got an ingredient that's called synetine. And what the synetine does is it's just an amazing ingredient. And it's found naturally in the body, but we just don't have enough of it. And so what this does is that when you look at the studies just on the ingredients, like I always do with the different products. It rebuilds the joint. It makes the joint so it's more flexible. It gets it so that your joint can have that bendability that it needs. Because when the joint bends, what that's going to do is it creates a natural pump by having by having the internal, external pressure. It's pumping it in and out just like your heart does. It pumps the fluid in and out and getting nutrition into the joint. And so you want to have the joints moving. That's why, like, when somebody is in a cast for a long period of time, the joint actually gets stiff, and it actually can cause the joint to never heal up quite as good as it did before. Like my foot, it's been 8 years since my accident, and I have some limited mobility in my right foot because of being in a external fixator. They immobilized my joint for like 9 months. And so I'm never going to have the normal movement in there that I did. But the other thing is that synetine works to decrease inflammation, and it protects the joint, makes it so that it works like an antioxidant and helps to rebuild it. So we've got that in the Renavator product, DW, and it just makes it so it's just a superior product to anything that's on the market.